Hi, what's going on, everybody? May 14th, full body day workout breakdown here. This is a different one, to say the least. If you guys came to class last Thursday, you saw a similar structure. Again, similar structure does not mean same workout. That was cardio day where you guys had the bricks. So the three options to run and bike different calories and different distances. This is going to look similar to that. So here it is. A lot to go through here, so I'm going to go as fast as possible, give you guys my explanation of what we're trying to achieve. So I wanted to do something on the muscular endurance frame. I think it's always good to sprinkle these types of workouts in, test your conditioning, kind of drag some stuff out, give you guys the opportunity to work on your pacing and your splits and a better understanding of how you feel as things get longer and longer. And then again, the mental grit side of things and just making this kind of the hardest part of your day so everything else is easier. I find value in that as well. Again, obviously, with all that said, it comes down to the person and how much effort you want to put into this, and obviously what you're trying to achieve and get out of it. So doing any of this, even just showing up and doing any of it, is obviously always a win. But these videos are trying to, again, obviously there to give you an edge and more perspective on what I'm trying to get you to achieve here. So you're going to see option 1, 2, and 3. Like I had, just previously said, it looks very similar to last Thursday's workout with options 1, 2, and 3. If you watched that video, hopefully it became clear to you that when you worked your way from option 1, 2 to 3, it was getting progressively harder as you went. That was not the point of this. I also just did this because I was going to have just one option, and then I realized I wanted to give you guys different things to choose from. So anytime I do something like this, it's really for you guys to have a little bit of autonomy in how you want to pick what you're doing that day. So the logic behind this is you're going to have the whole class. You're going to do as many rounds as you can for whatever option you choose. You're going to stick to one option. And starting from left to right, like I said, I was working on something to drag you guys out. Muscular endurance. Option 1 is pretty much like the black and white, universal, kind of Murph-like workout, which we're going to do at the end of the month for Memorial Day, where you're just body weight and running. Like you're just going to work on nonstop movement, full range of motion, high volume. Depending on who you are, you can choose your volume count. Again, a little bit different for everybody, and just kind of just go. Like keep the motor going, keep it locomotive the entire time. That's what running is anyways, and really just build up an elevated heart rate and then trying to just sustain that level of output for however many rounds you think you can get through. So again, that one is just very black and white. Bodyweight squats, sit-ups, push-ups, bodyweight step-overs, right? There's not a lot to that. It's all about kind of grit, mindset, and then tracking your paces. Like how aggressive and how fast are you trying to move? Like how fast can you move and still maintain that same split? That's the ultimate goal on that one. As you work your way right, things change a little bit. All right, so number 1, you're in the sagittal plane essentially the entire time. Not essentially. Well, I guess the bodyweight step overs, if you're moving laterally, it gets you out of that plane. But, it's sagittal. You're moving forward and backward, even though you shouldn't be moving backward. But you're moving forward, right? That's what running is. Running, swimming, biking, you just stay in that plane. There's no added load to this. You're just moving your own body weight, hence the kind of black and white universal way to attack a workout in terms of conditioning. As you move right, we start to add in load and we start to add in movements that are going to require a lot more from your body. So we're going to start attacking the nervous system, increasing your output. And as you add load to things, the workouts become, in theory, more advanced because your body has to sustain a lot more than it would without the added load, right? There's a lot more to think about. There's a lot more to do. The movements become more technical. Your transitions start to occur. And anybody that's been doing this for a while realizes as you start to add loaded movements to aerobic, it becomes more and more challenging. So that's what these options are doing. They're not more technical, although option 3 in theory is more technical, but that's not what I was doing here. I wanted you guys to pick something based off of how, what you were trying to achieve. So option 2 has 2 loaded movements. So you're going to do your row, and then you'll be loaded with the ground to shoulder and the push press, right? So we're going to challenge your body with a couple extra loaded movements. You still have the bench or box overs, body weight, and a core choice, which of course is also body weight. Nobody should be adding weight to that. And again, you get the feel what it's like, how much those weighted movements and load, really the toll it takes on your body, especially when it comes to pacing and your ability to maintain this over the course of X amount of rounds, right? A lot of people can do number 1 and maintain the same split for, let's just call it 6, 7, 8 rounds. And then all of a sudden we add in a little bit of load, and all of a sudden we're only be able to maintain or sustain our splits for 3 or 4 rounds. And they're like, oh my God, like I just don't have it in me. That's all the added load. And that's that's the amount of fatigue that's setting in because of all of that, right? As you move to number 3, you see a 4-minute biking negative, which I know a lot of people are immediately be like, that sucks, I'm not doing that. Like, biking negatives are so valuable for you to understand what you can and cannot handle and how to pace control, which is all that negatives are really teaching you. So again, if you don't know what a biking negative is, let's just hypothetical. I'm going to start at 60 RPMs. At the 1 minute mark, I'll go to 61 RPMs. At the 2 minute mark, I'll go to 62 RPMs. And at the 3 minute mark, I'll go to 63 RPMs. I get faster. My splits become quicker as I work my way through that negative. Obviously, you can use whatever RPMs you want relative to yourself. That was just an example. But your goal is you got to start there. You need to figure out what you can do, how you can treat it as a negative, and what negative and how aggressive can you get where I can still transition off the bike and get into now this crazy amount of load, right? So this is full blown like anaerobic right here, right? You're coming off the bike, lactic in your quads, probably heart rate elevated, slightly out of breath if you did this correctly, not dying hopefully. And now you got to go into just all weighted movements, right? Where your body and your nervous system are just like, whoa, like what is happening? Like this is like the most advanced level of fitness, I guess you could call it. So you're going to do the same way for all of these, but you're not going to treat it as a complex until you get to the complex. So you're going to do like your 8 low rows. You in theory could take a break. You're going to do 6 hang cleans. Again, you in theory could take a break. 8 deadlifts, 6 snatches, again, double dumbbell because you have 2 dumbbells. You could take breaks through all of those, technically. Your goal is to try to get through them as much as you can, but I don't want you to treat it like a complex. That wasn't the point. And then once you get through the 8-6, 8-6, you'll actually do 2 complexes of all those movements. So you'll do the low rows, hang cleans, deadlifts, snatches. Let's just say I use 50s, 2 or 3 reps of each one, and that's 1 complex rep. I will do 2 of them. And then because these rounds are so taxing, you get a 2-minute rest. All right. Whereas I don't see options 1 and 2, definitely not option 1, requiring a actual set dead rest. So the 2-minute dead rest is there because again, the weights and the accumulation of the gross tonnage you're moving here is just so fatiguing and so exhausting that for you to have any chance to repeat these rounds effectively at the output that we're looking for, you've got to have actual dead time. I actually thought about making it a little bit higher, but it's just not enough time. And I didn't want the 3-minute biking negative just isn't long enough, which is why it's 4 minutes to get anything out of an appropriate negative. So that's why that's there. But again, option 1, 2, 3, it's not meant to be like it gets hard. It does naturally or organically get harder, but that's not what I want you guys to do. I want you to pick some. There's a real world where I come in there and like I just want to work on my muscular endurance. I want to work on my ability to move at a aggressive pace. I want to work on my ability of not taking breaks. I want to work on the mental grind. Like that's option 1. Like option 1 is like I don't have to think about push presses and snatches. Like I just want to go and see and pretty much be locked into the clock and like pay attention strongly as to how my body holds up over the course of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds, right? Like that's, and again, obviously those numbers can be manipulated, depending on the person. But again, hopefully what I'm saying makes sense as to what I'm trying to give you guys options to choose out of. Fingers crossed. I know it sounds like a lot, and there's a lot more even going in my head I'm not going to start even talking about. But again, when you guys see workouts like these, and this is every day, like all these workouts, like I'm constantly trying to structure them and rep count wise, time recovery wise, to keep them as efficient as possible and always achieve specific things. So you guys have the ability to kind of every now and then pick what you're trying to work on. If you want to emphasize on something, you can go one way or the other. That's kind of the point of days like these, kind of like last Thursday, a little bit less last Thursday because that was just easier to harder, essentially. And then like the lifting and Metcon days, right? Like your opportunity to kind of emphasize one over the other. Like that's what our gym allows us to do. We have that flexibility. I absolutely love it. And again, at the end of the day, I built this gym so we had all the flexibility in the world. We're not boxed in. We can do whatever we want to do. And it's cool that, you guys can have the ability to kind of pick what direction you'd like to lean to. So obviously I would expect there to be a lot of questions on this workout. If you guys have them, obviously fire. We're getting a lot of great questions. Keep them coming. I love talking about this stuff. But yeah, anyways, it's May 14th, which is next Wednesday. So the videos for this week are Tuesday and Wednesday.